Hey man, is that the R8 GT?
What gave it away? The GT on the back. I swear to God, a bunch of
Sherlocks
everywhere.
That's crazy. We're R8 buddies, right?
Oh yeah. They made quite a few of those, didn't they?
Yeah. No, anyway, this is nuts. Like all the carbon fiber and stuff. These are pretty expensive though, aren't they?
Well, you got to pay to play, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are these guys, by the way? Bodyguards or something?
If you must know, these are my hold-me-backs.
I'm sorry, they're your what?
My hold-me-backs.
Your hold-you-backs.
Yeah.
Yo, is that the new GT?
Yeah.
Aren't those like 300 grand?
Technically.
You know, you could have got a Lambo, right?
You know, I've had quite enough of people like you. This is one of 333.
Oh.
You can't get a Huracan that's that
me
rare
back.
for that price.
You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James. And this is the new Audi R8 GT.
And this is a much cheaper alternative.
The 2023 R8 GT, a special edition commanding over $250,000 US, and in Canada the price has a 3 before it, which yes does make it more expensive than a Lamborghini Huracan Evo. But for that you get the same 602 horsepower and an arguably smarter looking vehicle, of which only 333 will be made. 150 will go to the United States, 15 to the UK, only 9 to Canada, 3 to the elves, 7 to the dwarf lords, and 9 to the race of men who above all else desire power.
James, can we do one video without a Lord of the Rings quote?
We can, but this might just be the best Audi, and it has lots of rings on it. Ergo, vis-a-vis, Lord of the Rings.
Yes, and it also costs lots of money. Instead, you can get something with the same amount of rings on it for a quarter of the price. V8 manual R8s like this one can now be found for around mid-60,000s US or mid-80,000s Canadian, and it's a car that changed people's perception of Audi's road cars completely. Because back in the 2000s, Audi changed the game. They really only had the TT as a sports car offering, a fantastic car, but thanks to its front-wheel drive underpinnings, it could never achieve full greatness. No, to compete with the AMG and M divisions, Audi would take everything it had learned from mastering Le Mans and the recent acquisition of Lamborghini, and in the darkness, bind them.
He said it!
And if you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing about. So subscribe, hit the bell. That's 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, claims Audi. And it feels very quick, except I'm so used to launching an all-wheel drive R8 that I have the confidence to. This is the rear-wheel drive one, and it's not just the normal rear-wheel drive one. As we said, the GT gets the crazy 600 plus horsepower. Thanks to the Cup 2s that come standard, it's gripping like spilled Fanta on a hot summer's day. But there's that piece of security missing. Don't get me wrong, the all-wheel drive R8 is already a heavily rear-wheel drive bias system, so it kind of feels like when your dad used to let you push the shopping cart around the supermarket, but he still just put his pinky on the front of it to make sure you were going the right way. In the R8 GT, Dad went out for a pack of cigarettes a long time ago, because even on the road, just pushing it into corners, it starts to get a little bit hairy. Just to let you know that it's up to you to change that 333 limited edition number to 332. Also threatening the composed reputation of the R8 is the fact that this one now gets a torque rear mode. And if that sounds familiar, that's because the RS3 has a torque rear mode. But it's not the same in the R8. That's actually becoming Audi's new word for drift mode. Unlike the torque rear mode in the RS3, which sends 50% of all the torque to the rear wheels and then 100% of that torque to the outside wheel, the R8 GT is already rear-wheel drive. So all torque rear does in this is change the amount of slip it allows for. The 7 stages which I can activate while in performance by turning this knob. And you can go to max. That's weird because, like the RS3, that's Audi having fun. So I don't know if there's been turnover or someone got fired at Audi, but I remember when we drove the RS6 on track, they didn't give it a drift mode like the AMGs and the M's, because they said that's pointless. Why would you want to drift? And now the RS3 has drift mode, or torque rear, and so does the R8. So Audi's starting to have fun, and that makes everything feel upside down, to be honest. Now, given that Audi are saying that this is the last V10 R8, they've tried to send it off with a bit of piznazz. That's not the word. A bit of a bang.
So not only does it get the full-fat V10 level of horsepower now, they've retuned the 7-speed transmission. It's always been razor sharp, but now the gears are shorter, and to me, it feels even more aggressive in performance mode than it ever has.
When I shift, it pushes me forward. There's like a jolt, almost like a Dodge Demon level of like American muscle car jolt. Yeah. Makes it exciting. That just adds to the excitement. Is it as raw of an experience as a Huracan Evo? No, I don't think so. There's still the beautiful V10 noises coming from behind you. And the as standard sports exhaust is very much upsetting the cows and horses around me. But it doesn't feel like an out and out raw track car in any way. It's still very easy to drive this across the country in GT form, and the steering is still very light despite being very precise, and thanks to the dynamic steering actually has such a short ratio, it's almost Ferrari-like, but there's a softness to it. When I brake, it pitches forward in a way that a GT3 RS or a Z06 would never do, and that's why I really want them to make an R8 GT Spider of this car, because if I'm going to have a screaming, naturally aspirated V10 behind my head, I don't want anything between me and the engine. Nothing. Open top, please. Even the suspension, which in America we don't have the choice of the coilovers that you get in Europe. It's not, there's nothing magical about it. It's just good. Like, one thing we've always complained about the R8 is that these paddle shifters are not commensurate with the power in the engine behind you. They're these little plastic things. Like, the Huracan gets throwing axe blades as paddles. I know bringing back a gated shifter for a last hurrah is too much to ask, but come on. Magnesium paddles wouldn't have hurt anyone. All the things that are getting my jollies off in this are actually true for the R8 V10 performance. There's nothing about the GT part that's really getting me that excited. I don't feel the crazy 600 plus pounds of downforce, because at the click of a paddle you have a V10 musical instrument at your fingertips.
Yes, you do, at the click of a paddle. But since when is clicking cool? Clicking isn't sexy. Watch. This is boring. It's good for online questionnaires or, watching corn. Watching corn. Why am I saying corn? I'm not saying corn, I'm saying corn. What the fork? Is this the good place? Anyway, a click is boring. But a clink. Some of the best things have a clink, like scoring a goal in air hockey, counting your coins like Scrooge McDuck. You don't click champagne glasses together, do you? You clink them. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna let the gated manual R8 do the talking. Oh, ka-clink! And change. Yes, clink! Clink! It's like cheersing your car in every gear. Prost! The only thing better than using a manual transmission is using a gated manual transmission. And no, this isn't the V10, this is just the V8. But I don't think that the phrase just the V8 is fair, because we've heard what a 4.2 liter Audi V8 can do when we drove the RS5. And you know what? It isn't slow. Not at all. 420 horsepower. You might say it's blazing. Very naturally aspirated in its power delivery. You have to rev it right out to the red line to get everything out of it. I've actually always wanted to drive one of these, because I was so curious what the simplest form of the R8 could be like. Gated manual, V8. It does have all-wheel drive, but it biases the rear heavily, and you can kind of feel it pushing from the back end. It is definitely an all-wheel drive feeling car, but it has rear-wheel drive characteristics. And you know what? I'm not disappointed driving this. I will say that it is quite soft. It's not really a visceral experience, but that was never the purpose of this car. Especially if I take the dampers out of sport mode and put them in comfort mode, the car it actually wafts quite a lot. It moves around on its springs, but they match the spring rate to the damper in sport mode. So when I click that, it stiffens up. But at no point is it too harsh. At no point is it insane or crazy. It's just good. It's just nice. It's a simple, approachable, mid-engined car experience. But probably for me, the best part about this is the steering. It's so much better than the new R8s. You know, they're sharper cars, obviously, but this has feedback. It loads up so naturally in the corners. And even just in a straight line, like I am right now, I can feel the cambers in the road. I can feel the bumps, and I can feel the undulations coming through into my hands. And that just adds so much to the experience. If you couple this steering with this gated manual and a naturally aspirated power band, you've got one of the purest driving experiences that you can buy for under $100,000. Even at the artificially COVID-inflated prices of maybe 90 grand, some people are even asking more, I think it's still worth it at that level. So it's just a great driving experience. There goes the rear a little bit. Woohoo! Yes. I'll give you a few things that I don't like about it. I think it's a little bit too dull. It's a little bit too inert in its completely stock form. I would put an exhaust on this, maybe some sort of an open intake, and wake up the sound a little bit more. I'd even opt for maybe a little bit more of an aggressive suspension setup, because the car is close to being an excellent, excellent driver's car. It feels light and it feels well designed, but all in all, for the money, this is an excellent car to drive. This drives exactly like it looks.
I've always liked that about this car.
No, it's not a complaint. I think it's excellent.
This was my dream car for a while. In the V10 form, there was a guy that lived near me that had a white V10 Spider.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's got it made.
I mean, look, I think this in a V10 would be great, but it is fantastic with the V8.
I'm glad to hear it.
It genuinely is. It drives wonderfully. But even like the same as the styling, every edge is ever so slightly rounded. Do you know what I mean?
Well, so this has sharp things going on. It's
Yes,
like the
many.
canards and,
Yeah.
the wing, which I think is called a gooseneck.
It's not a swan neck.
No, it's a goose.
It's well, what, so we've talked about this before. Why is there a duckbill, a gooseneck, and a swan neck? You know what I want? I want an albatross.
I think if it's not a swan neck,
Huge.
the queen/king doesn't own it.
Of course, right? Okay.
And then we've obviously got this carbon fibre on the back.
Yes.
And then we've got the lightweight wheels, which are part of the GT package.
Don't
the
like
Cup
that.
2 tyres.
Have you not taken the sticker off yet?
No, I like the sticker, but I still don't like them as much as the previous R8 GT, which, has to be said, went a bit more ham on the GT stuff.
Yes, it did. Based on what I've heard, this isn't quite as hardcore as the last one.
No, so it's done a lot of the GT things, like lighter weight,
Yeah.
aggressive tyres,
Yeah.
lighter wheels, bunch of carbon fibre. It's automatic, which, to be fair, the old one was also only automatic with a single
Right.
clutch. So
Yeah.
in that sense, maybe this is better.
Okay.
But the old one went ham. It had crazier, lighter seats. It replaced some of the glass windows with perspex. It removed like tens of pounds of carpeting.
Tens of pounds.
Tens of pounds of carpeting and insulation. This is still a relatively insulated, easy to drive daily supercar.
Yeah, it comes off, at first glance at least, for me, as being more of a collector's item than an actual like track version of the R8.
100%.
Right?
It's
How much more is this than the normal R8?
I think the normal rear-wheel drive R8 is kicking about 180 Canadian, and
Right.
this is 302. So for that, you get 40 horsepower more, the wheels, the tyres, the canards, and a bunch of stuff as standard, including the carbon fibre anti-roll
I was
bar.
just doing some quick math in my head. So you could technically get
Yeah.
a regular R8, which I assume drives very similar to this?
Yeah.
Okay. And two of these.
What would you do with two of these?
I don't know. I did what?
I don't know.
I've got two of them now. I have three R8s. Two
What
of them
about-
have gated manuals.
Let me throw
For the
this.
price of this.
I think I would get the new Z06, one of those, and a truck. A new, brand new, expensive truck.
Yeah, you could take this, strip it out, turn it into a race car, and get a trailer, and then drive it to the track
The thing
for
is,
the price of
with,
this.
So with these 333 specials,
Yeah.
you only need to find 333 people that want the collectible.
They've done. They have
And
found
this is
them,
number
haven't they?
114.
They found them.
Yeah, they're all sold.
Yeah, they're all sold. Of course
already
they are.
sold.
Of
Yeah,
course
or
they
they're
are.
being marked up by dealerships that have bought them in America.
This is the new thing. I swear, every time we turn around, they're limiting production numbers to drive exclusivity, which makes people go, "Oh my god, I've got to buy one."
Yeah.
Instead of just making a lot of cars for everyone. I
Watch
feel
watch
betrayed.
GR Corolla demand fall as they suddenly are available. Like the moment they become available, a lot of people are happy, but those
Yeah.
few people are like, "Oh, you can get them."
I don't want one anymore.
Yeah, so this
That
can only
shouldn't
be
the way
had,
it is.
This can only be had in Canada in grey or black, which is not very exciting, unfortunately.
Boring.
America's the same, except you also have a red thrown in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Listen, it's very cool.
it's cool.
But it's very expensive.
But it's
I
new.
just want to direct your attention to this one more time.
Yeah.
Because you see that in there? See
yeah,
that?
yeah. Can I clink your shifter?
I would love for you to clink my shifter.
Remove that from the edit, please.
How do you feel?
Natural.
Do you feel?
This is how I grew up.
No, it isn't.
This is on the streets post.
This is, you did a hand on top. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, it's how
for
you hold.
now.
It's how you hold your Glock.
James was born in the streets. In case you guys didn't
That is
know.
very satisfying.
Oh, it's incredibly satisfying.
Yeah.
Yes, you do have to be slightly more accurate with it.
Yeah, it can't be.
But it adds to the drama of shifting. It becomes more of a thing you do.
right.
Obviously you can eventually learn to do it without thinking, but there's still always an element of I'm doing a shift now. You can't mess it up.
It's purposeful.
It's purposeful. Yes, it adds a whole layer to this car that I really like.
This is in great nick.
It's really nice. It's got
Yeah.
the beige. See, like the suede in
I
the
like
seats.
this, yeah.
Really, really nice.
I think because
yeah.
this has always been the beige supercar. It's not the
It
hard
suits
edge.
it, yes.
Yeah.
No, but I think that the rest of this car has aged incredibly well. I don't honestly have any issues, other than obviously the fact that this is a dated infotainment system. The gauge cluster looks great. Visually, it's well designed.
It's simple, and that helps it age. But I will say that once you start getting into the V10s and they're still commanding six-figure prices, this interior starts to
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
This makes more sense at this price point with the V8.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like this whole car is the price of an M2, right?
Of a new M2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're getting, the engine is behind you, for God's sake. You can see it right there. It's so cool.
Nice little parcel shelf here.
Yeah, you could fit a carry-on suitcase there if you wanted, right? I got a manual handbrake. That's nice, right? No issues with it. I have seen some people that actually put the next generation Audi steering wheel on these.
Which modernizes
the interior. But I mean, I haven't seen one in person, but this physically matches the materials. So, I mean, works for me. We will say though, just because it is a German car from the mid and early 2000s, it creaks a bit. They all do this. It does not matter how high end they get. They all.
I'm in denial. For over $200,000 more, I'm telling you. Let me show you this one.
Okay.
What are you looking for?
I'm trying to find $227,000.
I'm gonna find it.
I can't find
Oh,
it.
hang on. May I direct your eyes to the carbon fiber inlay that says your number?
That's not is it an inlay? No, it's not. They just used a crayon and drew on top of the carbon fiber, then lacquered over it.
Inlay.
It's very nice, obviously. Some carbon fiber.
Well, this is
going on.
actually old already. This car's been out for a long time in this form now. What,
Yes, it has.
7 years?
Yeah.
Give or take.
Give or take.
Plenty of carbon fiber. We got the Alcantara steering wheel with the new marker.
Yep.
We have these bucket seats, which are interesting. They've got Bang & Olufsen speakers inside of them, which
I
is
see
nice.
that, yeah.
But these are optional on the other R8. So, in that sense,
So they're not quite exclusive.
Not that exclusive.
Really.
No. Really, the only thing that you can notice in here that's exclusive is the carbon fiber inlaid number.
The carbon fiber crayon number, 114 out of 333.
This car has been inlaid, thank you. I don't need you to doubt it. She goes to a different school. You don't know her.
Okay, so it's not worth the money.
It's collectors.
It's a collector's. Okay, yes, can't forget. Probably won't depreciate as much.
No, probably not.
Well, neither will that though.
No, probably
That's
not.
only going to get so low, right? You're not going to find those for $52
Yeah, but
in 10 years.
This has warranty.
I don't need warranty. That's a reliable car. Known to be.
But
Yep.
new marker.
I could put one of those on for $500 probably.
All right.
Yeah,
Forget the old one for now. In my mind, this compares to the rear-wheel drive R8, the new rear-wheel drive R8.
yes.
Because this is 130,000 Canadian more.
I know.
And for that, you get things that you could maybe make happen on yours, minus the carbon fiber inlay. You could get aero kit, you can get wheels and tires.
Yeah, you could get a crayon and write a number on the...
Or you get the Huracan. And as I said when I was driving the car, this car will never match the similarly priced track variant cars like the GT3 RS or the Huracan STO.
Yeah.
And so it's best as a road.
Wait, what do you mean Huracan STO? Huracan STO's got to outprice this by a fair
It does,
bit.
it
Yeah,
does.
okay.
But it's the track version of the Huracan.
But the GT3 RS is in the similar price bracket to this.
I think it's within $1,000 in Canada.
Right, and
yeah.
I don't think I can adjust brake bias and differential.
No, in which case
advance in
these
this.
vehicles, this and the V8 R8,
Yeah.
come down to road enjoyment. And I
Yes.
think their best version is with the roof that comes off.
Right.
So you can have that. We had a spiritual experience in the Huracan Evo with the roof down.
Yes.
And
It's genuinely amazing.
Even though it's maybe
yeah.
not as aesthetic with the soft top,
Yeah.
that's the flavor I'd take.
No,
this.
that's fair enough. I think I don't want to. I don't want to knock this too much because it is a GT. The GTs are cool. It's got stuff that you can't get anywhere else with the GT. It's got the badge, it's got the crayon, it's got the collectability, right? So it has all of those things. And for the person who really wants this, it makes perfect sense to them,
Yes.
right? And I'm not going to say that it's a bad choice for you.
They just need to walk around with their hold me backs.
Yeah. You don't need any hold-me-backs, however, for the V8 manual R8, because it represents the most sensible and affordable entry point into the silly world of supercars. If you take into account that the next available cars from this era with a gated manual shifter are Ferraris and Lamborghinis that would likely cost you the price of this R8 in maintenance, then all of a sudden, the V8 6-speed R8 becomes a contender for legend status. Time will tell.
As for the 2023 GT, it feels very much like a car at the end of its run now. The Lambos that share the same engine have outpaced it in craziness significantly. I didn't even want to mention that the more powerful Huracan Technica also has a lower starting price than this Audi. And something like the Corvette Z06, which is half the money, is more intoxicating to drive despite having 2 less cylinders. The 911 Turbo S more capable despite having 4 less cylinders. For R8 fans, the GT's differences from the normal R8 performance are definitely additive. In that respect, it doesn't commit any crimes. But there are those that might think, for the price and the honour of the GT name, that it could have just done a smidge more to be the finale. Thanks for watching.